Good rising, brethren. This is Big Judah coming to you guys from California. Before I begin, give all praise to the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. I pray the Most High blesses this lesson this evening, gives us more knowledge and understanding of the events of the past in order to understand events that are currently happening on the earth. So we get a much better understanding of the things that are soon to come on the earth. Brethren, about this time last year, it was last October, that the sister blessed us with the Black Celts book, which over this last year, our understanding has just been gangbusters, going crazy with all this new information and understanding. It seems fitting that in October of this year, the Most High has now expanded even more of this understanding of about the Black Celts and about those being our people. And that was where these Gentiles have gotten all their information. How, they wanted to make it seem always as if the Celts and the natives that they encountered were always bottom feeders, always primitive, always savages. When in reality, it was these Gentiles who were the savages. It was these Gentiles who were primitive. And they preyed upon our knowledge and understanding and elevated themselves to these high positions. That is how they went from being the tail to the head. It's all about that knowledge and understanding. And we went from being the pinnacle of the people here on the earth to being the tail. We went from having all that knowledge and understanding to it all being taken away from us. And now the Most High has us on the path of return. He's returning us back to our original positions. That's why all throughout the scriptures it says his people are destroyed by a lack of knowledge, showing you how important it is to have this knowledge and understanding. And now you're going to understand why the other nations have gone to such an extreme to keep knowledge and understanding from us. They understand how important understanding and knowledge is. That's why they've been working so hard to make sure they seal up all the pathways back to the Father. We're going to be getting into how the scriptures or the Bible was not given to the world through the Jewish people, but that the Romans and the English got the Bible from the Irish. And we know the Irish they mean the Black Iberno Celts, our people, the chosen people. See, they've taken our scriptures and they've taken not just our scriptures, but they've taken all of our knowledge and just given it to everybody. Everybody gets a little piece. Everyone gets to feel important somehow because they all get a little piece of our blessing. And Ish got, his part of the blessing is that, hey, we got these from you. We can't let the world know that we got these from the Black Celts. We're gonna let the world think we got this from Ish. Just like, they gave all this other philosophy and knowledge and mathematics to the so-called Greek people, and they made it seem as if we got all that from them. Then the Egyptians, they got their little piece where we went, the Greeks went and learned from the Egyptians, and then we get they went to the Far East and they went to Asia and they got all this other information from Asia. Everybody gets a piece. Oh, in India, the East Indians, they got their parts too. Everyone gets their part except for the so-called black man. So-called black man is always a bottom feeder, always at the bottom. We had no society until Gentiles came and brought their society to us. And I guess they mean by society means coming over and raping, robbing, and murdering, and stealing all our resources. That's bringing their freedom, and bringing civilization to us. What we're going to see today, we're going to get into some books here, and it's going to just change the perspective. And that's how it is. The Most High first, we were all worried about so-called Middle East not being our lands, and the Bible, and us getting connected back with the Bible. But we, never really made that connection with the Black Celts until like the last year, a year ago, when we got the Black Celts book. Then we started to realize that, hey, our people were already here. So we had a year to kind of get into that understanding. Now the Most High is like, okay, it's time to crank it up a notch. Not only were you here in Ireland and England, but this is where knowledge and understanding went forth from. Our people were sharing knowledge and understanding. We were bringing the light to the world, and it was starting in these lands. The churches were already established. All the things that you see that this Catholic Church is doing, our people were already doing. The Catholics, and the Romans and the English, they were jealous, and they wanted that. They always wanted. Satan says, "I'm going to be like God." That's what he wanted. He wants to be like God, so therefore he wants to imitate everything that the Most High had. He wants to imitate the priesthood. He wanted to imitate the popes and the kings. He wanted to imitate, being on top. And now you understand why, with them, the Gentiles, their prophecies are always things that are supposed to happen in the future. There's going to be this world leader that's going to come and establish the third temple, and he's going to establish this, and it's all in the future. But they've already done this. They've already taken down the Most High's chosen people. They've already taken all of our knowledge, understanding away. They took it away. They took all of our records, and then they took it for themselves, made it seem as if it was always there, and they never gave credit to where they were getting this information from. But what's going on is this. I was watching a video today, and this video talks about the what is it? How where like the history of Halloween. And I've seen this video before, but I never made these connections. It was talking about how Halloween actually comes from the Celts. And it was hilarious because for the Celts, they show dirty, barbaric looking so-called white people. So, it's supposed to be barbarians, right? So it says that the Romans went in and they already had their fall festivals, but they start to integrate the traditions of the Celts. Now, if these people were such, barbarians and backwards people, why would you be intermingling the beliefs of your so-called great high society with barbarians? Because they weren't the barbaric people that they've been portrayed as. Actually, when they got there, remember how they talked about how when the Spaniards got over here to the Americas, and they realized that the Aborigines already had the Christianity. They already had all of the records that they thought that they were the only ones that had. The Europeans out there were the only ones that had these records. But they got over here and they realized that not only did they have the same records, but the native records were actually more in depth than their own, which then caused a huge problem because they can't paint these people as being barbarians, backwards, savages, and everything else when they have better records than the Europeans. Didn't fit the narrative. So therefore, they had to destroy the narrative, destroy the truth, and hide the truth so they could build up their own narrative. This seems to be a repeating process with them. They seem to be doing the same thing over and over again. And then after they do that, they all have cognitive dissonance, and they all act as if they all play the dumb role. Oh, we didn't realize these people were this smart. We didn't realize that they had all this information. We got here and they didn't have anything. We don't understand how they built all this stuff. I said because we can't even build it today. These pyramids and these things that they have built, we can't even build them today. But this is all part of the takedown of our people, and then hiding, the information that they had, so that the other nations could take it for themselves and make it seem as if they've always been on the top of society. But the Most High said he was going to bring all of these things that are put into darkness into light, and that's exactly what he's doing. And you can totally see the process right now. You see how it, a year ago, the Most High blessed the sister, and she blessed us immensely with the Black Celts book. And we got a lot of understanding from there. And now we've taken that information and we're going way deeper now into making the connections with, yes, we know those are our people, but now we're going to realize, we're going to find out about the things that they had, the things that they were doing that was so far beyond anything that we could imagine. The magic, the connections to the earth, connections with the spirit world, the things that our people were able to do, the things that we read about in Jasher, the superhuman things that we were able to do. Most High is bringing us back into that understanding. You see, everyone's really, they're in a hurry to, oh, we want to be restored. It's a process. Our takedown was a process. Our restoration is going to be a process. Most High wants the world to see him raising up his people. The Most High wants the other nations to be quaking in their boots when they realize that all the things that they've done to hide this information isn't going to work. And at he wants them to see how he is restoring his people in front of their faces. Because they've spent billions, if not trillions of dollars on creating a fake history, creating a fake reality, and then to continuously keep it going, and how everyone around us plays the dumb role. They see us waking up. They see the lies that they've perpetuated being torn down. And the Most High is going to definitely enjoy it. Did he say he's going to laugh at their calamities? Well, this is a huge calamity right now. The Most High's people waking up. Like we said before, and I've said this many times on my channel here, our people, the Hebrew Israelites, we are the prophetic time clock. Everything else you see going on in this world, that is all based on us. As we rise, the other nations are falling. As between last year, October, and this year, October, look at society. Look how things have fallen. But what's been going on as the society's been falling? We've been rising. We've been on the come up. They're falling, and there's nothing that's stopping their fall. So, like I said before, we are the biblical time clock. Us getting knowledge and understanding, that is all the main part of prophecy. As we rise with this knowledge and understanding, the rest of the nation falls deeper and deeper into darkness. Because that's all that they've set up. Everything that they've set up for has been nothing but darkness and ignorance. So they go deeper and deeper into that ignorance. As we come out of that ignorance and get more knowledge and understanding, they're falling deeper into that ignorance because they refuse to listen to the Most High's chosen people. They refuse to accept who we are. They refuse to accept the fact that we are the time clock. So as they continue to ignore us, the Most High just puts them deeper and deeper into that hole. They fall deeper and deeper to the abyss. And we are quickly coming out of that darkness and out of that abyss. And now you're seeing how other channels who aren't into reading anything other than the Bible are stuck and stagnant. Because the Most High is bringing us up higher and higher every single day. We are growing every day, while the other nations are staying stagnant, not moving, not growing. And we're about to grow some right now. I'm going to show you how there's some biblical names, Timothy and Matthew, and how they didn't just come up with these names on their own, but they are translations of some of our works. Let's take a look here. We're going to get into the annals right here of the Kingdom of Ireland by the Four Masters. It's just one little page we're just going to check out in this book. the earliest period to the year 1616. This is like the whole page right here. Okay, page 21. This is volume 1. Okay. Now I gotta take a little closer look here, right here. Okay, I'm not even. It says Tieg. Okay, forgive me if I'm pronouncing these wrong. Okay, this name, which signifies a poet, and which was used in the last century as an opprobrious name for a vulgar Irishman, like Paddy in the present century, is now anglicized Timothy and Thaddy, and sometimes Latinized Thaddeus and even Theophilus. So as you can see, the name Timothy actually comes from this um, Irish word right here. So it's an anglicized version of the Irish word right there. So it wasn't like it was Timothy, and Timothy's been around for thousands and thousands of years. No, the first word here, Tiege or whatever, was the one that was here thousands of years ago. Timothy is just an anglicized version of this word, and Thaddeus is also is a Latinized word here from this one. Okay, and we go right here. We got Mahan. Okay, that's the spelling right there. Said by Spencer to signify a bear, is now anglicized Matthew as the proper name of a man, but the editor prefers the form Mahan. Okay, now we got the priest of Mahan right here. We got the priest of Matthew. Okay, as it is used in the Irish Inquisitions and law documents, and also in names of places and the family name McMahon. Okay, so you can see that quite a bit where they're kind of changing up these names and everything else, but they're translations of an older writing. So you get Timothy from is a translation of an older writing. You get Matthew from a translation of an older writing. Where are they getting these older writings from? From the so-called Irish. These were our older writings. See, it was these barbaric people who, they show you in the movies, there's always some dirty, looking white people who can't write, can't do much of anything, because that's how they've been portrayed. They've been barbarians, right? I was actually watching the beginning of Gladiator, and you see them fighting with the so-called barbarians, and they're always showing, portraying them as these people who, were barbaric and, not educated. But as you can see, it goes against all this because you see writing right here. And you actually see them actually going and translating it and anglicizing words and pretty much a way for them to interject themselves into the writing. Because they went and got a lot of these writings, got a lot of these stories, anglicized them, and then said, oh, these are our writings. These are our stories. And that's how they created a whole history for themselves, by taking ours and saying that it was theirs. That's how they got a history. They took our old writings, our old stories, and applied them to themselves. And that's what we're going to be getting into right now. This is just an example of what we're going to be getting into right now in the other book. Okay? So you got a good example of this right here. Let me go back here. So on the previous page, on page 20, will be a lot of this written in the in the older language. Okay? In the original language. But you can see the words and how they actually go through them. Okay? You see Anglo, well, this goes right here. It says, it being that most commonly found in old law documents, inquisitions, and most Anglo-Irish records. See, we got Anglo-Irish, we got Iberno, Celts, and because there's different people. Okay, and we're gonna get into a lot of these other things in some other future videos as well. So now let's get into this. We're gonna get into Irish wisdom preserved in Bible and pyramids. Okay, so the wisdom of the Irish is preserved in the Bible and the pyramids. We're gonna be getting some stuff right now, getting some deep stuff right here. Okay. It says, starting in the first paragraph there at the top, the Irish scripture, okay, were altered and adapted to the scheme of the church in order to make the fable of Aissa an historical and geographical fact. Names from the scriptures were given to places in Syria during its occupation by the Crusaders. To bear this out, it also suited the purpose of British statecraft to obscure and suppress all evidence of the greatness and culture of the Irish nation, than whom no people in the world's history okay, have reached greater heights both spiritually and intellectually, nor have suffered greater injustice at the hands of priestly impostors or political, okay, oppressors. And that's Daniel 9, 11, 12. And we know, like I said, it's not the Irish people, the white Irish they keep showing, because they said these are fitting scriptures. The cursings and the things that these other nations are going to, go together against. They're going against Israel. So every time you're hearing Irish and here Celts, they're talking about our people. They're talking about the Israelites. They're talking about God's chosen people. So just get that in your heads now. Whenever you're hearing Irish, they're talking about you. When we're talking about Celts, they're talking about you. Because they're the ones, the priest of Mahan is against Israelites. The priest of Mahan, the church of Mahan, the Roman Catholic Church, Britain here, they're all against the Israelites. Because the whole world is confederate against one people. They're not confederate against other Gentiles. They're confederate against the Most High's chosen people. We've already established that. Let's continue. The men who were engaged in executing this literary fraud committed as well the audacious crime of completely effacing all evidence of credit due the Irish nation for the most brilliant and glorious service to civilization and human enlightenment. See, our people were the ones that enlightened the world. We were the ones that were, that was most brilliant and glorious service to civilization and human enlightenment. That's why the whole world went to Enoch, went to Solomon. Solomon was talked about as being, the smartest man ever, the wisest ever. People wanted them to rule and reign because they trusted their wise counsel. But the other nations, Rome did not want the world to know this. So therefore, Rome and Britain, they didn't want the world to know this. So they're hell bent on hiding all this information. So again, the men who were engaged in executing this literary fraud committed as well the audacious crime of completely effacing all evidence of credit due the Irish nation, the Israelite nation, for the most brilliant and glorious service to civilization and human enlightenment. And he said, even in the scriptures, it's hidden. They don't want the world to realize that everyone went to Enoch and wanted him to rule and reign over them. See, Rome wants that job, and see, they've had their opportunity to do that. And look at where the world's at now. It almost passes belief that a fraud so stupendous could escape so long without discovery. But when we consider the thoroughness and extent to which the plot was carried out, and the magnitude of the forces which were employed in the work, it is not so much to be wondered at. Forces such as the Roman Empire, with its world power, then the Roman Catholic Church, and the British Kingdom, with propaganda, systematically spread abroad in order to create a false impression of everything, okay, pertaining to the past history of Ireland and her people. These are the forces which have perpetuated and profited by this great fraud. The deception is still continued, and the secret jealousy guarded by both the Roman Church and Britain from the world at large, but more particularly from the Irish people who have suffered so much from these two adverse forces. The men who executed this plot were acting jointly in the interest of both Rome and Britain. Even to this day, the British government does not encourage, even if it will allow, excavations or investigations to be made about the hill of Tara in Ireland. Now, see, they're still saying you can't go to certain places. You can't dig. You can't do any archaeological, experiments or anything like that. You can't do any of that over there in certain places. Is that not what they do over here? There's plenty of places in the Grand Canyon that we're not allowed to go. There's plenty of places in national parks that you're not allowed to go. Why is that? You see, what you're going to see is that a lot of things that they do in these different areas, like in Britain and Ireland, in order to hide the truth, they do here. They do worldwide. Same playbook. They just play it in different parts of the world in order to keep us away from the truth. I will give 2 citations here, with more to follow, to show that the names of many of the characters in the Bible are plainly Irish. I just showed you 2 from the other book. Timothy and Matthew come from, Irish words. They're anglicized versions and sometimes Latinized versions, okay? Now it says, and it is because of this fact that the Irish Roman Catholic priests would not allow the Irish Catholics to read the Bible. And now it's funny because Irish Catholics, right, to read the Bible, who was enslaved and couldn't read the Bible? So-called black people, right? Everyone else could read the Bible, but the slaves, the black people, couldn't read it. So when you see, again, Irish Catholics, just think of black Christians. It's exactly the same thing because Irish is talking about us, the Israelites. Catholics are just Christians. So they want to make it seem like they're two totally different religions, but they're not. So when you see Irish Catholics, just realize just Hebrew Israelites. Because we were the ones that were not allowed to read the Bible. White Catholics, they didn't want to read it anyways. They weren't about reading the Bible anyways. Just write questions. They're not about reading the Bible. They're about having a priest or a pastor just tell them what they need to do. Tell them what they want to hear. So like I said, you just realize that that worked out perfect right there. That says, and it's because of this fact that the Irish Roman Catholic priests would not allow the Hebrew Israelites to read the Bible. And the Irish Roman Catholic priest could be a priest, pastor, all of them, because they're all the same. They're all on the same team. And their team, the goal here, don't let them read the Bible because they're going to see themselves in the Bible. They're going to see themselves in the scriptures. And we can't have that. We can't have that. It says they were told not to read it, that it was not a sufficient rule of faith. The real reason was that some of the Irish people, some of us Hebrews, might recognize the Hebrew names in a Jewish Bible. So the Irish names, okay, in a Jewish Bible, and ask questions that it would embarrass them to answer satisfactorily. Is that not what happens when we came into this truth? We start asking questions like, hold on, this doesn't make any sense. You start going to your pastors and they can't answer to your satisfaction and they tell you to leave because you're causing problems. You see that? That's why you got to learn how to dodge the hijack. You got to learn how to read between the lines of what you're seeing here in this book. This is you. This is your history. These are the things that happen to our people. Nevertheless, it is a very astonishing thing that what now appears so clearly fraudulent could have escaped detection for so long a time. There are three main reasons for this. First, that the people are slow to attribute fraud and dishonesty to the clergy. Now, we were taught up to, hey, you don't question the pastor. You don't question the priest. They wouldn't lie to you. They went to school. They know way more than you. So don't question them. That's how we were taught. Our parents taught us that. But something, as you get older, just doesn't start sitting right in your spirit. Because the Most High is, showing you things that don't make any sense. And then the people who are supposed to be able to explain it to you can't. Because it's not in them. Because they're all part of the other team. I don't care what you look like. If you are trying to keep me from reading and understanding what's going on, you're part of the other team. Doesn't matter if you're white, black, yellow, green. Doesn't matter. It's about trying the spirit. And if you're about ignorance and keeping people from, getting this truth and finding their way to the Father, then you're playing for the other team. Because that's all that Satan wants. All Satan's trying to do is keep us from finding our Father. Keep us from getting back to our Father. By any means necessary. And he will use anybody to do that. So again, there are three main reasons for this. First, that the people are slow to attribute fraud and dishonesty to the clergy. Second, that the Irish Catholics who could speak the Irish language believed as they were told by the priests. Okay? So our people just, hey, they said it's in Greek, they said it's in Hebrew, we can't speak it, but they can, so we're just going to trust them because they wouldn't lie to us. Yeah, right. Okay? So again, second, that the Irish Catholics who could speak the Irish language believed, as they were told by the priests, that the Bible was brought to them from outside, okay, instead of being of Irish origin. And that's the thing that, they make it seem as if as another people brought the Bible to us. It wasn't ours in the first place. You see that? Like the Bible, that came from the Jewish people. That wasn't yours. That was your black people. No, that wasn't you guys. Wasn't yours. You guys couldn't even read. You guys' history started in slavery. You guys weren't the ones who had the Bible. We didn't jack it from you. We jacked it from the Jewish people. And we made Christian. No. You got it from us. And you gave it to someone else to make it seem as if it was theirs. So that we wouldn't be able to figure out that it was ours in the first place. I say it's very slick. It shows you how slick the devil is. Okay? And it says, and being uninstructed in the principles of man's nature, we're not given to investigation or research for spiritual truth. And that's the thing. We're not into, before, we were not into, investigating and research for spiritual truth. It wasn't time for that. And you see now, even today, how there's so many people that are, supposing the truth, and they're trying to discourage you from researching, discouraging you from looking, investigating things. That's why I'm telling you to make sure that you definitely judge the spirit. And like I've told people all the time, don't believe what I say. Research it for yourself. But I will show you what I'm reading. I will take pictures of it and put it up so that you can see it for yourself. So you can see that I'm not making it up. I'm not going to tell you, hey, here's this verse in the Bible, and I'm going to tell you my opinion on it, and then that's it, and make it seem as if because that's what pastors do. Pastors will that's why they took all the precepts out of Bibles, because with precepts they can't just make up stuff, because the precepts will clarify what this verse was talking about. So they take all that out so they can just make up stuff as they go. Oh, this is the understanding that, and this is the only understanding there is. I have 100% of the truth. This is the breakdown for this verse right here, and there's no other breakdown. Deuteronomy 28:68 means that we came from Africa to America, and that's it. Those are the kind of things that they're going to do. Being taken from ship from South America to North America, that doesn't fit. It only works if you come from Africa to America. You see, because that's how they've been able to do this. They've been able to, give their breakdowns, and then that's the only breakdown that works. And if you come up with something different, then you're a heretic, and you're going off and you're going to hell. But all this was set up so the world wouldn't realize that they got the Bible from us. It's okay if people think they got it from the Jewish people, because the Jewish people look just like them. They don't want you to realize that they got their scriptures from us. So let's continue right there. Instead of being of Irish origin and being uninstructed in the principles of man's nature, we're not given to investigation or research for spiritual truth. And third, that the field of religious literature has been dominated by the works of professional preachers and other religionists who have kept up the delusion knowingly, or who took it for granted, that the published accounts of the origin of the scriptures were in the main true and were originally written in Greek, with one single copy in Hebrew, as has always been inserted. And that's it. It's been in Greek. So just think about the Greeks, white people. And it's in one in Hebrew-ish, more so-called white-looking people. They're the ones that are the masters of this information. So therefore, if they say certain things, then we just got to listen to them, because they're the ones that are the pinnacle of understanding of the Bible, because it was written originally in Greek and Hebrew. So that would just disconnect us from the scriptures even more. That's why you hear people saying, oh, the Bible's a white man's book. Oh, the Book of Mormon's a white man's book. All those are our records. But they do that on purpose so that you won't look at them, because you say, oh, it's a white man's book. Once you got that, and that's your whole thinking, they got you. I'm not going to read the Bible anyways because it's a white man's book. Okay. That's okay with them, because that's exactly what they wanted. You not to do any research. You not to look into anything. That's what Satan wants in the first place. He's got you. You're his, because you refuse to look at anything else. You refuse to do as the Bible says, become as a child and learn again. Learn everything new, because that's exactly what you have to do. The Most High already knew that he was going to the enemy was going to take everything, bastardize it, hide everything, just take all of our records and just put them everywhere. That's exactly what he's done. That's exactly what he's done. He's going to turn everything upside down. Up is down, down is up, left is right, right is left. Flipping everything. That's what he's done. That was Satan's job, and he's done a damn good job of it. So as long as you're thinking that the Bible's a white man's book, Book of Mormon's a white man's book, you're not going to read any of it, Satan's got you. I'm not going to listen to this black man. He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. He doesn't know Hebrew. He doesn't know Greek, so he doesn't even know what the Bible says in his original language. Well, newsflash, neither do you, because it was actually written in this Irish language that few understand. It says, it will therefore be a surprise to Bible readers of today who have no suspicion of this deception to be told that it was through the medium of the Irish language that the true key would be found for the solution of the mystery of the origin of the Bible. The proof of this fact is here given for all mankind to see and know. The first of the two citations to be given in this chapter is from the book of John, chapter 3, 23rd verse. And John was baptizing in Aenon, near to Salem, because there was much water there, and they came and were baptized. In the latest revision of the Bible, the doctors have altered the word Aenon and have made it Enon. In the older version, it is Aenon. This is a compound of two Irish words, Aen, meaning a circle of the sun, a year, and On, also a name of the sun. The complete word itself means the sun. The word On also signifies cause, reason, swiftness, fierceness, eagerness, excellent, noble, good, also wolf dog. These are qualities and attributes associated with and applied to the solar sun and to the sun god by the Aryan or Irish priests of Aisa. Their theology was based on the idea that the supreme deity never had nor has a name. He is known only by attributes as the good or God, holy, most high, etc. And as the solar sun is the center of light and his great representative or sun in our system, the sun god is named after the qualities and attributes of some idea, such as the horseman or charioteer, the strong one or Samson, okay, or the fierce one, Horus, the heavenly wolf who is eager, swift, and fierce. The Irish, during their sojourn in Egypt, gave the name of On to one of their cities on the Nile. The city of On, the city of the sun, was afterwards called Heliopolis by the Greeks and Romans. Salem is a Hebrew word, okay, but the basis of it is in the Irish word solas, light. As Hebrew is a jargon of the Irish, it follows more or less closely the root it is taken from, as will be seen. So Salem means the city of God or light. The meaning of this myth is that John, Aenon, the sun, was baptizing in Aenon, the city of the sun, near to Salem, the city of God, in the realm of light, the celestial kingdom. Where else could such a being as the pure and perfected man be said to dwell? In this myth, John, An, Eon, and Ain, three forms of the word and all pronounced Ain, represents the redeemed and glorified man at the highest stage of spiritual attainment, next to the messianic state, so that in his next succeeding life or incarnation, here again on earth, he will be the Messiah. In the Irish mythic narrative of the Bible, we see that after John, the prophet and holy man, comes the perfected man, God, the Messiah, Isa, Jesus. This is an example of the esoteric truth and wisdom which lies hidden beneath the veil of the scriptural allegory, as formulated by those inspired Irish adepts. And though they have been denied the credit of authorship through a thieves' compact of silence, their wisdom and their works still exist in both the Bible and the Great Pyramid of Isa. So you see right there the thieves' compact of silence. That's Psalms 83 again. The thieves have come together to hide this information, to hide where they get this original information from. They've all made a compact. They've all made an agreement. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. Again, I'm telling you, there's so much information we're going to be getting into. But I wanted to make sure I came and brought this out before we just kind of get started. And we're going to start bringing out even more and more, which is absolutely amazing to kind of think about, how deep this goes, how deep the lies, how everybody is working together to keep this information from us, that they got all of this information from us. We already knew that they got it from us, but this is just laying it out perfectly. And you got to have understanding. So you understand that when they say certain things about, they were trying to make sure that the Irish Catholics weren't reading the Bible. Okay, we know that's not who they're talking about. Because you go back in history, who were the ones that were killed if they were caught reading? Well, if they were whipped if they were caught reading. They were killed if they were caught reading the Bible. Why was it so important for us not to read the Bible? So we wouldn't see ourselves in it. If we could read, see, that's what happened with Nat Turner, right? They let him read. They taught him how to read. Got that Bible. So he started reading the Bible. Who did he see in it? He saw our people in it. He saw our people in the Bible. He got a chance to read the translation, but his spirit showed him the truth. Just like when we read the Bible, and the things that the pastors and priests were saying didn't make any sense, because the Most High was already working in our spirit that there was something wrong. There's something wrong here. Something doesn't make sense. The Most High was preparing us for now, so that now when He starts to bring us this information, you're able to receive it. You're able to receive these truths, because very few people are going to be able to receive it. Because, to realize that everything you've been taught is a lie is going to be very difficult for many to accept. And many are not going to want to, start diving down that rabbit hole, because it's going to be too scary to realize that the people they put their trust in have been lying this whole time. They've been bringing nothing but ignorance. And the ones who were bringing light have been put to the bottom. But now the Father is working to bring us back to the top. All praise is to the Most High, Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. Shalom.